Hello, and welcome to Killer Kitsch Lizzie, my weird little place where I like to knit and sew and do other crafty things. Sometimes they're spooky. Well, I hope my intro didn't scare you too much. I was just trying to be a little bit spooky and silly at the same time. As mentioned in the intro, this video is going to be about my Halloween makes for this year. Every year for Halloween I make several garments as opposed to costumes because we go out to a bunch of different Halloween events, and though costumes are fun, I want to be able to wear my Halloween makes the entire month as well as throughout the year. And though I used to make costumes a long time ago, I got away from that a little bit. Also, the last few years has kind of deterred us from that. But I'm thinking next year I might make a costume. I have a actual specific costume in mind, and together it is a costume, but individually I might be able to wear them separately. We'll see. But for now, and for this year, I made a bunch of different garments. One of them is actually, what I'm wearing, I should tell you what I'm wearing first. This was the dress, one of the dresses I made for Halloween 2 years ago now. I think it was 2 years ago. It is, as is what Bunty is wearing right now, it's a bat, sort of a bat themed fabric. There is more than bats on here though. There are bats, skulls, kind of a creepy monster type vine, cats, spiders. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So I got, when I bought this fabric, the end of the bolt. And then I was actually quite shocked to find another version in this fabric. This is white and black, and this is gray and black. I was actually very surprised to find this print again this year. One of the stores we go to all the time, my friend Lori and I, to get fabric is Fabricland. I don't know if they're in the US. I believe they're only in Canada, but I could be wrong. Yeah, and the store we went to this time, because there's a few stores in Toronto, it was having a huge moving sale and massive discounts. And I guess they were pulling out a bunch of whatever they had in the back, and a lot of end of bolt stuff. There was a ton of end of bolt stuff. And this was an end of a bolt, and I just took whatever was on there, and I think it was, I'm gonna say almost 4 meters, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I do have enough left on that bolt to make a another blouse, but it would definitely have to be a cap sleeve or dolman sleeve style blouse. There's not a ton of fabric there. So I might be able to just squeeze out another possibly blouse. So I just wore this dress just so you could see the comparison of the two fabrics. I did find that this fabric was a bit thicker than this one. I find this is more shirting and this is more crafting cotton, if that makes sense. But this makes for a lovely blouse. It's a Rita blouse. You are going to see, so what I've done is I have filmed, you're going to have like a several little mini videos coming up, a montage, let's say, of all of the outfits that I made, or mixing and matching them with the, the tops with the skirts and whatnot. So you're going to see better views. But this is a Rita blouse, and this is, which is going to be in the previous video actually, the bat skirt. In the previous video there's actually a tutorial on how I made the skirt. So if you want to know that, go check out that video. I'll also link it below. So what you're going to see in the video is 2 gathered skirts, green and a black one, and then you're going to see, and I know I made the same top 4 times, however each of these tops I specifically wanted it in a Rita blouse. So 3 of them are going to be for my Halloween mix and match, and the 4th one is a bonus top. And the reason it's not for Halloween, but I was already cutting out a bunch of Ritas, so I was like, I'm just going to cut it out and sew it as well. And it was one that I've been wanting to make forever, and I could not find the fabric that I liked. And I finally did. I finally found the fabric I wanted. So yeah, so that is gonna come out. That is gonna come up shortly. So, but before before I show you that, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about like my themes. Like this year I chose bats. I love bats. I'm obsessed with bats. I talk a little bit more about that in the previous video. I'm not going to repeat it. Last year was pumpkins. The year before that was I made a bat dress, but it wasn't specifically bats. I can't remember what it was 2 years ago. The year before that was skeletons. So I have a dress with a skeleton down the front. So those are the most recent ones. Again, we had a couple of years where we weren't able to go out. We all know what that was. I'm not going to talk about it. Yeah, so that's one tradition I do every Halloween. I make Halloween garments. Another tradition we do, my husband and I, is we go around the neighborhood. The neighborhood we live in has some of the best Halloween front yard haunts I've ever seen. Years ago, friends and I would get together and like drive to like more like a bigger haunt type things, where they have professional actors and professional people have actually built the sets and whatnot, and that was sort of our Halloween thing back then. Or we'd go on like a haunted hayride or go to haunted houses or things like that. More recently, I've gotten into really enjoying front yard haunts, and I gotta tell you, the imagination and the work and the dedication that goes into them blows my mind every year. I feel like they get better and better every year. We actually have a house down the street from us. I call it the Halloween house, and then at Christmas we call it the Christmas house. It's a massive old Edwardian, and they collect spooky things and props and animatronics and you name it. Like they collect them every year. They're collecting more and more and more, and every year their Halloween haunt gets bigger and better. And you know what? I have photos from the last couple of years. I will insert some of those photos right now just so you can see them. And at Christmas time they do the same. They go all out. It's one of my favorite houses to go visit. And one street over from us, every year they shut down for like about a block and a half. And again, it's like this huge street party, and the reason they do it is to make it safer for kids. Because there are a lot of young kids on that street. And people come from all over Toronto to go to that street party. It's packed. It's packed there. It's so much fun. So that is another tradition, is checking out the Halloween haunts. And then another tradition is we have a bunch of movies that we always watch every Halloween. And funny enough, I've been doing that since I was a kid, and then when I met my husband, we realized we both watched the same things at Halloween. A lot of them are cartoon based. During the month we will throw in Halloween or horror themed movies throughout the entire month. I've talked about this before. We run a movie night the first month of every Friday in Toronto at Seascape called Killer Bee Cinema. And October and November we show scary movies, because we do have our movie night at the beginning of the month. We do it again in November just so that, Halloween continues into November. So that is a new tradition that we came up with when we got together. And I'm going to read my list because I'll forget something. But there are things that we always watch every October. And Charlie Brown, The Great Pumpkin. I've seen it every year since I can remember. watching it, and sometimes a couple of times a year. And even this year, every year we keep planning to do a Great Pumpkin in the front yard, and also, you know, we have a projector and a screen, and we're gonna like show it. We're hoping to do it this year. We'll see. Always a Barbara Steele movie. Even if we've seen it 100 times, every year we watch a Barbara Steele movie. Treehouse of Terror. Who doesn't love The Simpsons Treehouse of Terror? You know, it doesn't have to be current episodes. We'll just grab a couple and just watch them. 1930s spooky movies. I gotta tell you. Or even silent spooky movies. We just went to one recently. Destiny from 1921. We are very, very fortunate to live near a rep theater called The Review. And they have, they take a break in the summer, but every month other than the summer, they show, it's on a Sunday, it's always on a Sunday, they show a silent movie once a month. And we're really fortunate to have that, as well as the Silent Film Festival. Yeah, so right now the theme for the silent movies are kind of horror, Halloween-y, so there's a couple more coming. Cartoons from the 1930s from the Fleischer Studio. There's so many. There's a dancing skeleton one. There's a Betty Boop Halloween. Actually, probably a couple of Betty Boop Halloween ones. There's a bunch of like spooky Halloween themed Fleischer cartoons from the 30s. A lot of them are on YouTube, so go hunt for them. You will thank me later. Yeah, that's kind of the major things that we watch. Like I said, a lot of horror movies. A lot of classic horror movies too, like The Changeling or The Exorcist or Carrie. We don't do those every single year, like we'll switch them up. We'll change which one so that we're not watching Carrie every single year, though I used to do that before. So what are your Halloween traditions? Do you make a full costume? Do you just make Halloween garments? Do you dress up on Halloween and go out and do adult trick-or-treating? Because, trust me, that's a lot of fun too. Do you host trick-or-treating at your place? Like, have kids come to your door? What are your plans for this Halloween? Let me know in the comments below. I really love hearing what other people's plans are. It just inspires me a lot. So, without further ado, let's look at the montage of my Halloween makes. Hello and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed those. I had a lot of fun making them. I did a session of bulk cutting and bulk sewing to get them all done in time. I always seem to run out of time. It's always like creeping up to September and I'm like, I haven't made any of my Halloween clothing yet, so I end up doing a sort of an assembly line bulk sewing to get it done every single year. Probably gonna happen next year too. I try to plan ahead, but life. So, if you liked my spooky little video, please like, subscribe, share it with all of your friends. Also, I will link all the things below, and I'm also having a knit along till the end of this month. Again, I'll link that. It's in the previous video if you want to go watch, or actually 2 videos ago, if you want to go look at that video. There's more than enough time to still join us. You can even join us after Halloween's over. Not a problem. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Stay spooky and stay kitschy.